Yamuna, Osama, and Harshimran. We are presenting a group assignment on to create a wide and wireless network for Albert Mangus College. There are six departments like admin, academic, human resource, finance, IT support, sports, and there are different IP ranges like 10.0.1.0 by 24, 10.0.2.0 by 24, 10.0.3.0 by 24, 10.0.4.0 by 24, 10.0.5.0 by 24, 10.6.0.2 by 24. Subnet masks are same as 255.255.255.0. Default gateways are 10.0.1.1, 10.0.2.1, 10.0.3.1, 10.4.1, 10.0.5.1, 10.0.6.1. In this design, each department has its designated IP ranges within the private IP address space of 10.0.0.0. The subnet mask used is 255.255.255.0, which allows
And which is same for all the departments. Continue.
254 hosts on each subnet. The default gateway of each department is the first usable IP address within their respective subnets. Example 10.0.1.1 for the admin department. Next, topology diagram. In topology diagram, there are router, switch, network, subnet 1, subnet 2, router connected to switch and switch connected to network and network connected to subnet 1 and subnet 2, subnet 1 wired network, subnet 2 wireless network. That's it.
Now, I have my part to do now. Now, let me explain you what switch configuration, which involves the tasks such as VLAN creation, port configuration, and implementing security features. And the specific commands and configuration depends on the which like switch vendor or model, referring to the documentation and configuration guide. So to configure the switch, these steps are need to be followed by Cisco Packet Tracer, which is to assign the IP address, which is 192.168.0.1, to the switch interface connected to the router, which will be connected to the router, as we can see in the topology diagram there, and to set up the VLAN to the wired and wireless network on the switch, so that the network can be provided to both the subnets, and assign switch ports to their respective VLAN, and enable trunking between the switch and the router interface to allow the proper connection for the both. And the next one is the router configuration, which includes setting up the interfaces, routing protocols, and security features, etc. And in this, it varies from which router vendor or model which you are using there. And to configure the router here, these steps need to be followed, which is assign this IP address, which is 192.168.0.2, to the router interface connected to the switch. Then configuring the routing between the wired and wireless network, which we have seen in the topology diagram there. There are subnet 1 and subnet 2, which is wired and wireless network. For here, we need to configure it just to give the connection to both the network. The next comes is DHCP configuration. So basically, you all know that what is DHCP configuration is dynamic host configuration protocol, which assign the IP addresses to the new devices dynamically, which means automatically. So like it involves DHCP scopes, lead durations, and additional options. And for DHCP configuration, we have to use the router as a DHCP server, which will be assigning the IP address to both the network. And it ranges for the subnet 1, which is 192.168.0.10. It goes on till 192.168.0.50. And for the wireless network, we can see that it is 192.168.0.70, and it goes till 192.168.0.100. So the next come is access point configuration. You can see that access point configuration entails setting up SSIDs, security protocols, authentication methods, and optimizing signal strength. And for wireless access point, configure them with appropriate SSID and security setting, just to make more secure security for the purpose. And the next come is a server configuration guidelines. This means it depends on the specific server roles and operating system in use. Can you please go down, Himana? Thank you. So the next come is security configuration. In this, network security configuration involves implementing firewall access controllers, encryption protocols, and authentication mechanism. To enable this, we are using enhanced network security, which will be implementing in these measures. So first, we need to enable password protection and strong authentication mechanism on the router, switch, and server, so that any vulnerabilities cannot be accessed or no one can access to our network. The next is configure firewall rules on the router to restrict unauthorized access. That means we are configuring a firewall on the router so that no one can enter to our devices or our data. Then set up access control list ACLs on the router to filter network traffic. Then implement encryption protocols for the wireless network so that when the hacker get to track it, he cannot read it your data, so it's encrypted. Then enabling the MAC addressing filters on the wireless access point. So now outcomes, limitations, and future growth and conclusions will be explained by Harsimran Kaur.
Outcomes. The design network incorporates separate subnets for wired and wireless devices, allowing for efficient network management and traffic segregation. DHCP configuration automate IP address assignment within each subnet, while the
Can
router
you be a little louder, please?
facilitates communication between subnets. Security measures are implemented to safeguard against unauthorized access. Limitations and future growth. The current design the current network design relies on the single switch, which may limit scalability. For future expansion, additional switches can be added and interconnected using VLANs or other suitable techniques. The IP address range 192.168.0.0/24 provides 256 host addresses, which may be insufficient for a large-scale network. If needed, consider redesigning the network with a larger IP address range. The wireless network coverage may have limitations based on the number and the placement of access points. To expand wireless coverage, strategically deploy additional access points. Last one is conclusion. The design network features separate wired and wireless subnets, promoting efficient management and scalability. Configuration of switches, routers, DHCP servers, access points, and servers must ensure smooth operation and connectivity. Security measures are in place to protect against unauthorized access. The network can expand it by adding more switches, adjusting IP address range, and increasing wireless coverage to accommodate future growth. Thank you.